Bit of a delay, but I'd like to introduce you to a game designer, Brian Waggoner.
Hello.
Hi, Brian.
Hi.
Thank you guys so much. Yes, they can hear you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Hamby with FM 94.9 Radio in San Diego. We're an alternative rock station and home of the San Diego Padres. But we're also big-time gamers, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time to join us because happy anniversary, the 4-year anniversary of this game on PC, and now it's on console, and I'm super excited.
Yeah. It's been a busy month, but it's definitely exciting.
What's it been like for you guys? I did mention, 4-year anniversary on PC, and now it's console. What's that been like? Like, how's the game changed, and is it different now on console than on PC?
The console version, I would say it still has the same core, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
It still has, Marvel heroes. It has, the ones that you know and love. It still has great ARPG gameplay. And, it has great modes and has thematic story elements and stuff like that. But it's also a lot different because just taking a PC game and putting it on console does not a good console game make. Right. So we took a lot of time to kind of break down a lot of the game, to make sure that it felt really great on a controller, to make sure that the UI felt really good, because you lose a lot of fidelity. Like if you're used to having mouse and keyboard to do all of your input and selection and things like that, it can feel like you lose a lot of fidelity when you have a controller because there's less buttons. You don't have the finite control of the mouse. So it takes a lot of time to make sure that feels right and it's intuitive and not clunky. And it's a good amount of work to do that, but I think it came out really well.
Well, I'm playing it right now on PlayStation. It runs fantastic. The game runs so smooth. That's been one of the things I've been talking about since the beta and on social media, and just really appreciating it. And I don't mean to compare you guys to other games or make other games feel bad, but it's a free-to-play game in beta, now launched, and it's running so smooth. There's no crashes. It doesn't feel clunky. I was trying to think of the word I was looking for, and it was that you make the characters feel efficient. I feel like a hero, depending on which character it is.
Yeah.
And it plays amazing.
That's good. That's what we're aiming for. So good to know that we did.
Now, one of the big things I've really noticed too, playing the game, is that the game changes based on what powers you've unlocked and what talents you've unlocked later in the game. And some characters really blossom later in the game, especially you guys have down it to the point where some characters will change complete thematics in who their allies are. Like Cyclops, for example. If you want to roleplay, you can go from being the 90s Cyclops to the renegade Cyclops of the current comics, which is so cool. And his allies change.
Yeah, talents are one of the great things that actually came out of us working on the console version, and we actually released them on PC about 6 months before we launched the console version, and I think it adds a really great twist on character progression. Before we just had the traditional skill trees that anybody who's played any ARPG or even any RPG is used to, where you hit a new level, you get a new skill point, and put that in something, it makes that skill better. And we thought that, we felt like that was getting, a little stale, where it would get to the point where, like, incremental power points, you never really felt like you were getting more powerful because it was a more gradual curve. So instead, we said, okay, what we want to do is we want you to have more choice and have more significant choice. So rather than have you get a point every level, we have you unlock abilities up through level 30, and so during those first 30 levels, you're learning how to play the hero, learning the mechanics, learning the secondary resource, learning the primary resource, and then once you hit level 30, then you start unlocking rows of talents. And those talents can, I mean, I know this is going to sound overreaching, but they can change anything. They can change anything about your gameplay. Yeah, and it's really cool because every time we go back and we're either working on a new hero or we're working on an update for an existing one, we just find cooler and cooler things that we can do with talents that we never, like, even when we were designing the system, we never thought was possible. So, yeah, it's really great. Like, Spider-Man's a great example. There's some people who like playing melee Spider-Man, and they like being up there and slapping guys around. There are some people who like to play ranged, using web shooters, and before it was like, oh, well, we would have to kind of support the builds in weird ways because of how you would put the points in your abilities. Now we can just say, oh, okay, this ability that used to be, something is now it's a ranged ability, and it's not only just a ranged ability, but it totally fills that gap. And then, it's almost like it's a completely different hero, and that I think is really one of the biggest, biggest points of the game as far as improvement.
I think one that really surprised me was Jean Grey. And
yeah.
I wasn't expecting you to have her just become the Phoenix. Like, here's a talent, and now all of her mental abilities are fire-based. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, it just completely changed the complexity of the character. Like, it's really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, she definitely shines with that, and there's other ones like War Machine is a good example.
Yes.
Because he functions using, he has suit power, which is his primary resource, and then he also has this overheat mechanic where it generates heat, and then you become overheated, and then it locks out certain abilities, and it boosts certain abilities. But like for me, huge War Machine fan, I love playing the War Machine because he has all of the guns.
Yes.
He has all of them. And so I like to play melee sometimes because he's got chainsaws on his arms, which is awesome. But most of the time I prefer playing ranged. And so, I don't really, if you're playing ranged, because the overheat locks out your ranged abilities, that's not really great because it makes me not play the way I want to. So we just made a talent that says, okay, heat is no longer a thing. And it boosts your other abilities in these ways. And so you're like, great, this is awesome. This is how I want to play.
That was my favorite thing about War Machine was, I think it's like level 50. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my god, this is the War Machine I wanted. And I'm so excited. Talents are amazing. Yeah.
That's good to hear.
I really do like, I was playing the game and forming a, Tyler and I were talking about doing a blog interview and doing a few questions before the game release. I just got too busy, especially playing the game. So the question I was going to ask while I was playing it is when will I see Jessica Jones as a playable character or as Colleen Wing? And then playing as Luke Cage, I got my characters I wanted. So it is funny. Sometimes a lot of the questions I have or things I want, I find that later in the game with the character, I unlock a talent, and it's like, oh, I didn't know I was getting all of this. And yeah, you play as Luke Cage. Spoilers, you get the whole Defenders. Like, that's amazing.
Right. Yeah. Luke Cage. I mean, a huge part of Luke Cage is being in the Heroes for Hire, and so pulling all of those elements in. And the great thing about Luke Cage too is, if you change costumes, the look on some of those summons change as well.
I didn't know that!
And so we even have a Jessica Jones team up. We have Jessica Jones team up as well on PC. So if you really love Jessica Jones, you can play her. You can have her as a team up, even if you're playing Daredevil or whoever else you want. And she can roll on with you and be snarky and throw things.
She's my favorite. I do love the team-up mechanic on PC, and I was wondering, I don't know exactly how he phrased it, but I was watching one of the live streams a couple weeks ago, and one of the developers was talking about how the team-up function on PC was mainly there for characters that couldn't quite have a full power set or fleshed out, but now on console, maybe some of those characters can because, you're using the controller, there's less powers, you have the talent set, but I was wondering if there's plans to unleash characters like that that maybe were on the PC side that way and could come on the console.
I mean, nothing to announce, but yeah, I mean, that is 100% right. The count system allows us greater flexibility in the amount of powers that we have, and allows us to keep them much more focused. Where you look at Jessica Jones purely from a design standpoint, and her powers really, as a superhero, aren't that interesting. Like, she is an incredibly interesting character, but has a fairly generic group.
Yeah, she's a brawler.
Powers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's one of the things where, you know, we love Jessica Jones. We know people love Jessica Jones, but we would want to figure out, like, what can we do that makes her stand, you know, above the rest, or, you know, make people say, oh, this really is worth it to buy a whole second character that's another brawler. We have a lot of cool tech on our available to us to do things, and you know, like, she would actually be a really good candidate to do something like as an enhanced costume for Luke Cage, right? Because they share a lot of powers that way. So yeah, we have a lot of options available to us. On, you know, we have just as many team ups. I think we have more team ups than we have playable heroes, and yeah, we have a lot of stuff that we can pull from. I think it's really exciting, but yeah, nothing that we can share right now on that.
No, of course not. No. And I wasn't. I don't mean to put you guys on the spot on that way either. I think one of my favorite team ups from the PC side when I played years ago was Firestar. She's just one of my favorite characters. So for me, there's that. I was telling the guy that's playing with me on stream, Autobot Sketch. I said, one of the greatest things about this game right now for me is the hope.
Other Spider
because you have 4 years of a game on PC that you're now bringing to console. So there's 4 years of content you can pull from. There's 4 years of history you guys have shown with this game. And then there's, you know, it's like characters like team-up characters like Firestar. I'm hopeful and excited that one day she could be a character. Like, this gets me just interested in the game. I'm so... I mean, the game is 4 years old and brand new at the same time. I'm really appreciative of that.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we're so confident that in bringing this to console is because we do have, you know, we have 4 years experience running the PC game, and while the console is a completely different market, we know that we have a lot of
you know what?
A lot of content that we can bring over. You know, I don't know that saying we're going to bring all of it over is a statement, you know, that we can make, because there's some things that, like, we had a really good chance in making the console version for us to take a step back and look at all the different parts of the game and find things that we like about it, find things that we didn't like about it, and then say, how can we change the things that we don't like? And so that's why, you know, we were very careful about which game modes were available at launch on console, very careful about which heroes were available on console at launch, because we wanted to make sure right out of the gate it was a very clean, a very focused, and a very good experience. And so we have some, you know, game modes on PC that are older that we would like, things like Holosim and X Defense that we know players like, but we also know that they're, you know, a little bit antiquated, and so bringing them to console to a new audience, we wouldn't want to bring a game mode that's a couple years old.
Right.
We want to bring it to them in a fresh and new and updated way, so it felt like a new experience. So, yeah, I mean, we do have a lot of stuff. We have a lot of cards in the deck, and so, you know, and we have some, you know, we have some plans on what we're going to do with that. But yeah, it's very exciting to have a bullpen that deep.
It is. I mean, if you were a brand new game coming to the console and you didn't have that, you're definitely not as far ahead as you guys are. And it's fun to be able to develop communities now on console, and not just on console in general, but definitely on Xbox, definitely on PlayStation. I mean, it's exciting for me as a fan of what you guys have put out. That, you know, there's almost 60 million people playing on PlayStation now, and as much as the console is amazing, you're gonna reach a new audience, and I'm excited to see what that does for you guys. And I hate to be fanboy about it, but it's exciting. It is.
Yeah, I mean, hey, fanboy all you want. That's great. I mean, we did do it here, and that's what, you know, when we watched it, and, you know, we were watching players log in, you know, and seeing numbers of people coming in, and seeing all the, you know, all the feedback that we were getting in social media or our forums, or you know, for me, I think the best part about this is hearing stories, because couch co-op is a really big part of this, of Marvel Heroes on console.
Yes.
Local couch co-op, and it's been such a huge hit, and every time I hear a story from players who say, you know what, this is something that I can play with my kid and share, you know, my love for these characters with my kid, and we can team up as, you know, our two favorite heroes and go out and, you know, take out some bad guys together. I love that, because I love that it's a family bonding experience, as cheesy as that sounds.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
What's the other? It's a few years old, and they just released it on PlayStation 4, which it doesn't matter. But it's another Marvel game, and a bunch of my friends were out of nowhere messaging me on social media. Hey, this game is available. We should all play it. It's, you know, it's like 10 years old, and I was like, oh yeah. And then it was like a month later. It was like, wait. No. The actual game we should be playing is coming. We just need to wait a minute, and it was this one because somebody said to me, hey, are you gonna play Marvel Heroes on console? And I actually had to look it up, because to me it was a new game. I was like, oh, you mean the one I've been playing since 4 years ago? Like, it's coming to console. Yes, absolutely, I'm going to play this game.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a reaching a whole new audience is really big for us, and we're really, you know, getting the feedback that we have gotten so far is really great.
What's your favorite character to play?
Oh geez. You know, this is probably the question I get asked the most. It's like asking a parent to pick their favorite kid.
I heard that coming a mile away.
Yeah, I know. And it's not me being cagey. It's true. Like, I mean, I've played all of, you know, the 62 we have on PC, and I have my favorites there, and then playing a bunch of, you know, the 38 that we have on console. And every time I play them on console, it's a different experience. So I honestly had no answer to that, because it changes day to day and week to week on who I'm playing. And I also, like, I'm a big just kind of thematic nerd, and so some days I just want to be Thor,
Yes.
and some days I just want to be Hulk, you know, and so for me it depends on the mood, depends on the day. So
Speaking of Thor,
yeah, I mean,
Jane Foster Thor. I'm a huge Jane Foster Thor fan, and that was a must-have. That had to happen. That had to happen.
Yeah, she's one of our most popular costumes. Players really love her, and we're really glad that we have a chance to bring her to console too.
I too suffer from what I like to call alt-itis. Even though in this game it's not the traditional making an alt, but it is that, oh, I want to play as the Hulk right now, and I want to smash some things, or I want to play as Spider-Man, or, you know, whatever it may be. I also have OCD goals. I want to get all the characters from level 60. So that is the thing.
Yep. I am the same way.
I think some of my favorite characters are definitely the ones that have pets or that summon characters, and that parts of this game that just like, oh, I have you know, your Cyclops, and you're like, oh, I have the whole X-Men with me, or your Colossus, and again, I have the whole X-Men with me. You know, it's awesome. I really love it.
Yeah. The summoner playstyle is really popular in ARPGs, and so, you know, when doing a lot of the reworks of these heroes and bringing them to console, we know that, and so we thought to ourselves, like, what are some heroes that you wouldn't think are summoners that we could, through talents, try to make summoners? Like, Colossus, right? Like, who would have thought Colossus would be a summoner? But there's a totally viable build to that. Doctor Strange, same thing, like summoning, you know, ice golems and mindfulness ones and stuff like that. So,
Iceman's definitely one of my favorite summoners. Iceman is he's OP.
He's really strong. Yep.
I love Iceman. I absolutely love him, and I just love that he is that strong, because like I was talking about earlier, it feels great. Some of these characters feel heroic. It feels like if you're playing as the Hulk, I don't want to be destroyed by a car. Like, it does feel awesome that Hulk will smash things.
Yeah. Yeah, making sure that each of the heroes feel like they should, I guess is the best way to put it, is always one of the number one things when designing and testing a hero. So making sure that you feel like he's good.
Now I know that I have a sickness for as far as how I play every character on demand, so don't mind me. But what are some plans that you can share for the game? And it just came out, just launched on consoles, guys. So there's a ton of content to already get to. But what are some plans you guys have in the next couple of months? What would you like to see happen?
We have an ideal schedule of releases over the next couple of months. Black Cat and our Spider-Man Homecoming content, which Black Cat is coming to console later this month. So is our Spider-Man Homecoming content, which Daily Bugle Terminal, which you can go in and fight the Sinister Six, and then it culminates with a brand new boss fight with Vulture, using the look from the new Spider-Man film. So that's coming later this month. So that'll be a nice new piece of both hero content and playable content. We also, in the near future, we don't have dates yet, but we're also looking to bring Nightcrawler over to console, and Elektra as well, since she has a pretty featured role in the next Netflix show, and so definitely bring her over as well. Outside of that, we have plans. We've talked about some of it on the PC side already. Like we've mentioned that we're working on some content that'll be across all Marvel games in the fall that has to do with Apocalypse, and so we have that in the works. We're also working on bringing some other stuff over to console in a future date, like the Serta Raid and stuff like that. So
now, not to you don't have to mention specifics, but as fans, do you guys read the comics or watch a show and then say to each other, how do we do this? How do we make that happen? Do you?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, awesome.
All the time. I mean, we're always coming in and we're trying to figure out ways to bring things from the comics that are very iconic, things from the films and the TV side of things into the game, especially since we know fans will love it. I mean, a really great example of this is Marvel keeps a lot of things close to the vest, and so we were already talking last year about this time really about what we wanted to do for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when it launched in the fall, and we had some team-ups planned, and we wanted to do Quake, and we had some other ideas for other team-ups, and then San Diego Comic-Con happens, and we're like, oh yeah, by the way, we're bringing Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider into the show. And so literally at that minute when I saw that reveal, I sent an email out saying we have to bring Robbie Reyes into the game. Like, I don't care what it takes, we have to shovel stuff around so that we have room for this. And we did, and he's such a great team up. He's got the Hell Charger, and he's super, super great. We're always seeing stuff like this.
In a role-playing sense, I looked through the character lineup and I thought, how would I play Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on the console? And I said, well, there's Ghost Rider. I'll use Ghost Rider and I'll do the flourish with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. emblem. So that's my Ghost Rider is Ghost Rider.
That works.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. That's awesome, guys.
Yeah, I mean the first discussion we had about it was, hey, can we do an enhanced costume this way? And we started to go down that route, and then it's one of those things where I think if we had more time, we could have made it work. But like having a travel power, so much of Ghost Rider, the playable in our game, is based around his motorcycle, and so changing that to a car and have the first car travel power in our game would just going to be too much to try to work. So he does have the team up does have some powers where he calls it in and it goes out. Like having free reign to drive it everywhere would have been a little rough. So.
It would have been like a micro car.
Yeah.
Oh, that is awesome. I don't want to keep you guys too long. I just really appreciate your time. And the game is running so fantastic on console. It's been a real joy to play. Like between I come home from work and I just want to play for a few minutes, or I've got a couple hours and my friends and I can dive in and have a party 5 and just goof off. It's everything you want, and it's real. I thank you. It's awesome.
Yeah, social aspect of our game is something that we're super committed to do, and there's a lot of things that we want to add to it, such as a group finder, and super group support and stuff like that, because we know that, especially in MMOs, the social features are really what sell it. If you think of other MMOs that have been really popular, it's and great memories that you have from it. It's well, my friends and I did this, and we did this crazy thing together, and we had a really great time. And that's something we really want to focus on, is finding ways for, as kind of cheesy as this sounds, great ways to make memories with your friends.
Yeah.
And so trying to make those big iconic moments where you just kind of makes you stop and go, whoa. So.
I think one of the things we talk about a lot at the radio station is the Destiny. When we play Destiny, it's very easy to find a group. It's so easy to dive in and play most of the content. And that's, it's kind of like that thing we always say, like, oh, this is easy to play. This is easy to do up. It's easy to pair up. And it makes it easier to play.
Yeah, we that's a huge part of it. We have a bunch of stations just around the office where to do playtesting. You go grab a buddy and do couch co-op with each other, or do it over PSN, and it's really fun that way.
What was the arcade game where you played as the Avengers? I mean, there was the X-Men one, but there was also these feel like those old school arcade games where you could I get to be as Cap, you get to be Hawkeye, you get to play as Iron Man, and you get to just fight the villains, but it's also that really classic X-Men side-scroller. I get to be Colossus, you get to be Wolverine, like, when do I get Dazzler?
Yeah, and that's probably one of the toughest aspects of this job, which is, it's having too many blessings almost, is there's such a huge array of characters in this IP. I mean, Marvel's easily the strongest IP in the world at this point, and there's so many different heroes and characters to choose from that it's really hard, right? It's really hard to pick and and even talking to our community, because as diverse as our community is, everybody has their favorites, and everybody has who they want to see in the game, and when we go through and we're deciding who to make playable, it's a really tough decision, because we all have our favorites too that we want to add. Even with 62 already, it's still super hard, because you think we get to a point where it's like, okay, all that's left is just like that one guy who is in one pain and that has that issue, and it's not like with all the different families and the total history of not only the comics but the films and TV, like it is an unlimited trove of ideas. So
and they keep making variations.
It's really
you guys
nice.
will never be out of a job in that case.
Yeah.
That's going to be great for the creative process, that any character that doesn't quite make it but was on the drawing board, you guys would have a chance to go back and look at it and say, well, maybe this isn't why it worked. Maybe it was just timing, but maybe we can do something else and introduce something later. That's got to be really fun for the creative process, to just be able to just keep seeing what works and try something.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, having 4 years experience and seeing what plays well and what doesn't, it's really good, and it helps us make a lot of decisions. Like we've gotten, we're getting a little bit more. It's risky isn't the right word. It's a little bit more daring in our choices. That when we, maybe when we announce who, a hero or something, a lot of players are saying, "Oh my God, what are they going to do with this?" And we're like, "Just wait! Like we have really good plans." Last year, yeah, I mean it was Ultron, right? Like Ultron, he's such an iconic villain, and everybody who has read his stories in the comics or even saw him in the film has very specific ideas about what Ultron should do. And so, trying to narrow that down into a very clean, concise gameplay is very tough, but it worked out really well. And because at first everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, what are you going to do with Ultron? He's like one of the most powerful villains in the whole universe, and you can't just have him be able to destroy everything." And I think we did a good job with that. He's one of our more popular characters that way. And we're trying something new this year too. With we're making our first kind of separate version of a hero with Unworthy Thor or Odin's son.
Oh.
Yeah. So we have the Thor in our game, the one that everybody knows with the hammer, with Mjolnir, and all of his lightning attacks. But there's there's some times where he's lost his hammer and lost his powers, and he becomes a completely different. He's still Thor, but not Thor. And he uses swords, or he uses an axe, or he uses a sword with a shield. And I think there's some really cool gameplay options with that. I'm really excited about that.
That's super cool. And not to put a timeline in, but is that something like maybe down the road later in the year around Thor Ragnarok? Maybe some new costume skins around the movie, and maybe the new Unworthy.
That doesn't sound like a bad idea.
I'm very excited to see what stuff comes out because Marvel's release schedule, not just in comics, but TV and movies. We have a podcast dedicated to just talking about stuff like this, and it's exciting to see. The Defenders coming out in August. What will that introduce for you guys to be able to explore? The Inhumans will be popular, and then you're going to have Thor Ragnarok and Black Panther and Avengers Infinity War and Captain Marvel and there's TV shows. It's gotta be fun.
It's fun. It's fun, and it's also really challenging, right? Because if we had an unlimited amount of resources, we 100% want to hit every single one of those beats.
Right.
And back when it was like, okay, there's 2 Marvel movies a year and no TV shows, it's not a big deal. And now it's like every other month there's something new. You go from Guardians 2 to Spider-Man to Defenders, and it just keeps going. And every one of those things are important to different audiences, and they always want something, and we always try to hit those as much as we can, and just give players something fresh and something new for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be that guy I'll always be asking for another character. I'll always be like, "Where's this character? Where's this character?"
Yeah, it's
daunting.
Making new heroes is, and I think that's where the hardest part of this comes from, because like, again, if we had unlimited resources, we would want to say, here's a new hero every month. Here's 2 a month, and we make sure that, for Guardians, here's playable Groot or whatever. And that's when the hard choices hit, right? We know our capacity, and we know what we can do, and sometimes we're like, we really want to do a playable for this. We just don't have the capacity to do it. And that's tough, but the great thing about this IP is there's always going to be another chance, right?
That's my biggest love about this game right now. It's just the hope, because you have 38 on console, and that is amazing. And then you do know how much there is on PC, and you can hope for characters, and then the characters that might come.
You keep grinding your teeth like that, and you'll have
this
some
game is
nasty
fun now.
bills.
It has amazing content now, but you can also just be excited for what could possibly happen, and that's exciting.
Yeah, something that I probably should clear up too is, like, for console, our goal is not just to be like, well, here's another hero from PC, or here's another hero from PC.
Sure.
We want to release new things too. We have a lot of heroes that we can pull from that we can bring over to console, but we have a lot of heroes that we want to release that are brand new. Some of those things sync up with movie and TV and comic event releases. But like Carnage is he's coming to PC at the end of this month, and we definitely want to bring him to console at some point. And there's a lot of stuff, whether it's new playable content or new playable heroes, that we want to get that stuff out to console players too, because new is good.
I have one last question for you guys. I totally want to let you go. My buddy who's been playing with me during the stream today, been helping me make this interesting while I've been talking to you guys, Autobot Sketch. He is a huge Beta Ray Bill fan. As far as he's concerned, there's no such thing as Thor. So he wanted me to lodge an official request for Beta Ray Bill at some point. We're both big Beta Ray Bill fans.
Okay. Good to know. I have a meeting with our modelers this afternoon. I'll see what I can do.
Guys, Beta Ray Bill, if possible. Hamby in San Diego was asking. Well, guys, thank you so much.
He's definitely one of the
You think mutants have it tough?
Our pleasure, man.
No,
it's always great
if
to
you're
talk
fans
to
of Beta Ray Bill, you can always talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you. I'll let you go. Thank you so much for joining us. We are giving away some characters for if you'd like to play the game as well. You can text Marvel to 61749. Message and data rates apply. We have some Spider-Man codes. We have some Deadpool codes. We have some Guardians of the Galaxy codes for you to play. And the game is free to play. And these guys have taken their time out to hang out with us and talk about it for the last half hour. So thank you so much.
You bet.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Take care, you guys.
May your arrows always find their
That was awesome. That was awesome. Chat, way to go. I'm so sorry I've been ignoring a lot of you for so much. There's some nice folks here. Robert, thank you so much for being a while. Thank you for hanging out. Oz and Sketch, of course, thank you for being in the chat. James, thank you for hanging out with the folks and talking to them. I will be doing, I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff with this game, guys. I don't plan to stop playing it. This will be the game that we'll be playing for a while. Thank you again, Tyler. Thank you again, sir. Again, we've got some giveaways for you. Master Jedi, thank you for hanging out.
Please don't read my...
there.
Too late.
Okay, if you do want to win some characters, text Marvel to 61749. Message and rates apply. It's PlayStation, and it's North America, but you can get some characters for the game. If you're in San Diego, just announced today, I will be hosting the Sharknado 5 party at Saquon Casino Thursday during Comic-Con with Ian Ziering and Tara Reid from Sharknado 5. Yeah, I'm going to be hosting a panel with them. We've got a new episode of the Capes on Capes podcast tonight. I'm going to, in about an hour, go see Spider-Man Homecoming, and we'll be reviewing the movie tonight, as well as more Comic-Con preview. Comic-Con taking over downtown. Thank you for watching. Thank you again to Brian and Tyler and all the guys who are playing games. And,
Somebody cue the ominous music.
Yeah, we'll talk to you guys soon.